Hi guys, welcome to SC2 School Bus's second video for a series of tutorials that I'm writing titled A Comprehensive Guide to Starcraft 2. First of all, I got some news I guess for everybody. We're going to be going by that name now. SC2 School Bus. I came up with that in my sleep-deprived state last night, so if I sound a little groggy, it's probably because I haven't slept for about 30 some odd hours. So today we're going to be covering a lot of the concepts that we went over in the second tutorial, and I'm going to be touching upon concepts that we're going to be covering in today's tutorial that's going to be posted along with this video. This match was my first placement match. I logged on to Starcraft, immediately found my friend who goes by Flap on BNet, and we decided to do some 2v2 placement matches. I'm the purple Terran, Flap is light blue Protoss, Zerg, we're pinned up against blue Zerg and red Protoss. So let's get started really quick, and the beginning of this video might look very familiar. I opened up with a not even similar, exact same build order that I went over in my first video. Standard 3 barracks Terran rush. So everybody knows what the beginning of the match looks like. Let's speed it up a little bit. You'll notice at 9 supply up here I send an SCV out. Actually 10, I was a little late. But this guy, oh that's good. Why, let's just skip ahead the whole thing. Anywho, let's try that again because I'm too lazy to redo it. 8, 9, 10, supply depot goes up. Kind of got lost around there somewhere. So then at 12 I actually built a little bit early, but my first barracks goes up. At 14 I'm going to build another supply depot, and my refinery should go up at around the same time. At 16, as soon as this SCV is done, my orbital command is I start my orbital command upgrade. My second barracks goes up, my first tech lab goes up, and my first barracks and my third barracks is being built now. Let's pause right here because this is where some of the concepts that we talked about in the second article are going to come into play. Well, the first big one, I should say. So let's double the speed here, but what I'm doing right here is I'm sending a scout out at 1920 supply. This is 4 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, and I'm not really going by time or by unit count per se, but you'll notice I'm already this far into my build order and I don't have a single unit. Well, I do have one unit out. If my opponents are playing at roughly the same pace as I am, this is a really good time to get in, especially if he's playing a little bit slower or going for a build that requires a little bit more time to get their first unit out. You should be able to see whether or not they have a refinery up, if they got 2 unit producing buildings. You should be able to pick up on some things that are going on, which will give you a good idea of what's going to happen in the next couple minutes in the game. So here's my SCV. Let's wait till he gets up here, up the ramp, and we'll go over something else. Okay, so because this was my first placement match, my heart at this point is racing, especially since I'm going to scout alone. My partner, I guess, didn't want to send a scout out or whatever, forgot, doesn't matter. Point is, I'm going crazy at this point inside my head, and because of this, I actually came to the completely wrong conclusion on what blue was going. I'll go over why I had these ideas, but we'll also, more importantly, go over what we should have actually deduced from what blue had up at that point. So let's speed this down to normal speed, and you'll actually notice that, let me change my vision. My scouting is done by setting an array of rally points. Now, in theory, this is a great way to do it. You know, rallies are great. You can set it and forget it. Go back to base. Start, keep building, whatever. And that was my whole idea. But since this was my first match and I'm just freaking out, you'll see I did this pretty much ass backwards. I set these points in some kind of weird, stupid shape that just would end me up in the middle of the base anyway. So there's no way my SCV was getting out alive. If you want to do this correctly, maybe hook left here and make a nice U shape across the minerals and back out. If you're lucky, the SCV, drone, probe, whatever you're scouting with might get out alive, and you can actually send him to the other opponent's base and even scout them, hopefully, or at least see the front of their base at that point. So let's see how this scouting went. And in practice, it actually went perfectly. It's just how the conclusions I came to are completely wrong. If we pause right here, we basically have a view of the entire base at this point. What I looked at immediately was this extractor. Keep in mind, I'm still new to the game at this point. I just went over some, real basic stuff. And as soon as I saw the extractor up this early, I thought tech. Zerg is teching for sure. Now, why did I think that? Because my build, requires me to have a refinery up fairly early. Now, something I didn't notice, which could have also confused me, so let's hope it doesn't confuse you. I had 3 barracks up, and had I noticed I did notice these were hatcheries. I only saw 2 though. Some players, and especially new players, may think like, oh, this is the Zerg barracks, this is where the larva comes from, so, he's doing a very similar build to me. But no, in fact, these buildings cost I think they cost exactly 400 minerals, and this is a huge drain on resources, especially this early in the game. You're going to be sacrificing a lot of time in the beginning. You're not going to be able to have as many units, but say you survive the first rush, you're going to be able to build a lot of simultaneous units, especially if you got a queen for one of these. So anyway, because I'm used to my reactor being up, that means tech to marauders. I see their extractor up, I think immediately roaches or hydras or a bolt or whatever. But in reality, here's what we should have learned from this, what we should have seen. First of all, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4 hatcheries. His original one is built already, so that's 400 gold out the pooper. And this one's almost done. This one's just being built. Another thing we notice is his spawning pool is up. Now, what do we see wrong with this picture, though, is the spawning pool is up, the queen is not out. The queen should be brought out, immediately. As soon as your spawning pool is done, you want to pump that queen out right away and start spawning extra larvae. Now, in theory, had he got a queen, he could completely have gotten rid of one of these, because the queen allows you to spawn 4 extra larvae every X amount of seconds, whatever it is, and it lets you really increase your unit production first of all, cheaply and very quickly. So these spawn 3 at a time. The queen spawns 4 at a time. So you would have could have saved 400 gold here, or minerals, and an extra egg here could have been completely subsidized for that queen. So, looking at all this, having all that in your head, here's what we know. This guy is not following any sort of build order. He's kind of just, has a good idea. Oh, if I build, a bunch of hatcheries, I'll be able to build a bunch of guys all at the same time. It'll be great, it'll be fast. But no, no queen, this up, the spawning pool means right now he's only capable of building Zerglings, drones,